Hello for the first week in Lent. The theme is three devils. Chosen Genesis, the first reading. Genesis 3:1-7. Matthew, the Gospel, 4:1-11. Three devils. The first is in Genesis, the serpent in the Garden of Eden. The second is a conversation that Jesus had with Peter. And the third is the Gospel, and that is the three temptations of Christ in the desert. The first, Genesis. The devil is personified in the snake, or the serpent, the cunning serpent. Adam and Eve are put there in the story, and it's all beauty and splendor and delight. But they're told not to eat from one tree in the middle of the garden. And they're not even not to eat from it, but they're not even to touch it. And if they do, they will die. Well, the cunning serpent, the devil, Satan, comes and dupes them, and he tells them the apparent good. If they just do it, their eyes will be opened. They'll be like gods. They'll be pleasing to the eyes of everyone, and they will have ultimate wisdom. And the cunning serpent gets them to eat the fruit, touch the tree. And their eyes are opened all right, but the only thing they saw were one another's nakedness. They disobeyed and were doomed because of their sin. The cunning serpent made them do it. They did it. The second is Peter, right before he goes into Jerusalem to suffer and die for the sins of the world. He tells his apostles just that. It's only 3 sentences, so I'm going to read the passage. It's from Matthew 16. From then on, Jesus, the Messiah, started to indicate to his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem to suffer greatly there at the hands of the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be put to death, and raised up on the third day. At this point, Peter took him aside and talked to him and said, "May you be spared, Master. God forbid that any such thing ever happened to you." Get this. Jesus turned to Peter and said, "Get out of my sight, Satan. You are trying to make me trip and fall. You are not judging by God's standards, but by man's standards." So Jesus is saying, get behind me, Satan, because Jesus is only thinking of himself or the way humans think, and not the way God thinks. I love this insight because it really gives me my running definition of Satan or the devil. Anything that is not in God's will or intention is evil, is diabolical, is satanic. And so Jesus calls Peter Satan. What's your definition of the devil or your definition of Satan? Well, then the third devil is in the Gospel. And that devil is another story that leads Jesus to three temptations. That devil, Satan, tries to dupe Jesus and say, "Don't do the will of God. You're out here fasting and praying and getting ready for your ministry. Don't do it. You're hungry. Change these stones into bread. It's crazy to be hungry." Jesus said, "Look, Satan, not by bread alone does man live." And so forth. Then he takes him up to the top of the temple and he says, "Look, you got power, I know it. Throw yourself over. Your angels will come and catch you and bring you down slowly. You'll never hit the ground. Sort of use your power for magic, for show. Jesus does not give in to the temptation. And finally, the ultimate, Jesus is approached by Satan, and Satan says, look, I'll give you everything in this kingdom of the world if you only just fall down and adore me and worship me. It's the opposite of God, where he asks God to worship the devil himself. He makes himself God, the ultimate. Well, what could be more egocentric than that? Satan, devil, evil, is anything that is against the will of God. And of course, we, weak human beings, we don't do everything 100% in accord with the will of God. It's hard to do the will of God. Sometimes very hard. Look at Jesus in the garden, sweating blood, saying, I don't need this. But not my will, but your will, Father, be done. The ultimate yes. Well, during Lent, these 40 days, we try to make a better yes. We try to do the will of God a little bit better, deeper, more thoroughly. And so we practice during these 40 days. I hope you have decided to do something, refrain from doing something or giving alms or whatever. But your weakness, don't blame it on the devil. The devil made me do it. Don't blame it, this is the way we've been created. No. Take credit for your own weakness and ask God for help and mercy and the help to get a little better. Hopefully during these 40 days, you will come a little bit closer to Christ, a little bit happier and more content the way God made you to be. Have a good day.